What if I told you one low-cost overnight trade just rewired two cities' QB rooms and maybe rewrote a rookie's whole career? Picture the wire alert. Joe Flacco, yes, the 2012 Super Bowl MVP who once led a dynasty run, is suddenly a Bengal. Cleveland shipped him to Cincinnati along with a 2026 sixth-round pick in exchange for a 2026 fifth-rounder. It's the sort of day three swap that looks modest on paper but detonates in the locker room. The move was fast, quiet, and the kind of October chess move teams only make when something is burning. Reuters. For anyone hoping for a cinematic hero's arc, don't get too romantic. This wasn't a blockbuster. It was a desperation purchase. The Bengals have sputtered since Joe Burrow went down, and their offense has been, to put it bluntly, a mess. A veteran like Flacco won't magically restore chemistry, but he does offer experience, pocket awareness, and the basic football competence that can make an offense stop embarrassing itself. That's what Cincinnati bought. Competence, not miracles. Yahoo Thao. Now the real ripple, the Browns. Cleveland had Flacco on the roster, but he had been benched recently in favor of rookie Dillon Gabriel. With Flacco gone, the Browns officially moved Shedeur Sanders up the depth chart to number 2 behind Gabriel. For a guy who started the preseason as QB4, that's not a promotion. It's a career pivot. One phone call and Sanders goes from developmental curiosity to the man who's a single injury away from being thrust into live NFL action. SI, let's parse winners and losers, but do it like a coach grading film. Specific, ruthless, and honest. Winners first. Dillon Gabriel. The rookie starter gets the front seat vote of confidence. The Browns were willing to jettison a veteran to keep Gabriel as the man under center. That's a managerial vote of faith, valuable in a league where job security is thinner than a film room coffee. Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins for the Bengals are also slight winners here. Even a modest upgrade under center can turn targets and routes back into points instead of turnovers. And Shedeur Sanders, whether you think he's ready or not, is unquestionably a winner in status. He's closer to being an active backup than he was this morning. CBS Sports, the losers are where the storyline gets spicy. First, the Browns' attempt to tamp down the Sanders conversation is now effectively blown up. If Gabriel has a hiccup, the quarterback conversation accelerates from speculative to urgent. Media cycles will chase Sanders like hounds on scent, and that noise can rattle a young room. Second, teams that might have shopped quarterbacks, the Giants, Falcons, others, just lost a potential trading partner. The Bengals used up the market for an experienced stopgap, lowering the odds of a bigger QB deal spinning out in the near term. Third, Zac Taylor, oddly enough. If Flacco doesn't meaningfully stabilize Cincinnati, criticism will attach to the coach who pushed the roster into buying a 40-year-old veteran as the fix. That's the dirty little truth about midseason trade optics. If the trade fails, it amplifies the failure of the people who authorized it. CBS Sports Now, let's zoom into the human detail, because trades are a ledger of dollars and a calculus of psychology. Flacco's resume is long and respected, but his recent tape is messy. Limited production, a few benchings, and more starts in a decade than stability. He's 40, and the Bengals asked him to do something very hard. Learn a new offense, meet new teammates, climb into playoff or not pressure at warp speed. That's a heavy lift. He might steady the ship for a game or two. He probably won't turn the Bengals into an instant contender. Reuters. For Shedeur, this is a beautiful, dangerous gift. On the one hand, the faster you play, the faster you learn. NFL reps are the real curriculum. On the other hand, being activated and asked to quarterback a Gabriel-built offense is sometimes worse than sitting and scheming. If the Browns keep Sanders as the backup but don't give him a clean, bite-sized package to run if needed, his tape could get ugly fast. And the noise around should he start will drown out thoughtful development. That's the coaching trade-off. Protect the rookie's growth or accelerate his baptism by fire. Either choice costs something. So here's the tactical truth the headlines won't tell you. Trades like this are as much about optics and options as they are about production. Cincinnati needed to show it tried something. Ownership and the front office needed to demonstrate urgency. Cleveland wanted to clean house and accelerate a transition. Both franchises achieved those goals. But the deeper goal, winning football games, is still a week-to-week grind that depends on execution, health, and frankly, luck. Let's walk through two short scenarios you'll want to bet your emotional capital on. Scenario A, Flacco stabilizes Cincinnati. He uses quick reads, short drops, and a veteran cadence to keep drives alive. Jamar and Higgins get easier targets. The offense stops stalling in the first half. The Bengals start playing like a competent NFL team again. Zac Taylor's seat cools off, the trade looks clever. Scenario B, Flacco struggles to adapt. Timing is off, route timing is shaky, chemistry doesn't snap in a week. The Bengals get an incremental improvement, or worse, another messy outing. Critics point at the trade as a sign of panic. Taylor's fix looks reactive, not strategic. The pick swap looks like a wasted insertion fee. Bengals. Which outcome is likelier? Realistically, a modest, messy improvement. Expect competence, not miracles. Flacco's presence likely makes the tape watchable and may save the Bengals from complete offensive chaos. But it's unrealistic to expect a 40-year-old journeyman learning a new locker room in October to drive a multi-week revival on his own. So what should the Browns do with Sanders? Smart answer, give him a narrow, high-leverage package ready to deploy if Gabriel falters. Let the rookie win his first meaningful snaps on plays he's practiced, quick completions, read option plays that use his mobility, and scripted red zone looks. Protect confidence, let adaptation be gradual. That's how most sustainable rookie breakouts begin. Final thought, and the line you'll remember when someone brings up this trade in a month: trades are cheap theater until they aren't. Day 3 swaps between division rivals are the NFL's version of a power play. Minimal cost, potential disruption. For Flacco, it's a final act. For the Bengals, it's a gamble on experience. For Shedeur Sanders, it's the kind of unexpected turn careers are made of. Watch the first 2 weeks after a trade closely. The headlines will tell you who won the paper war. The field will tell you who actually won the season. If you were the Browns GM for a day, would you protect Sanders with a conservative package or throw him into the fire and let the NFL sort him out? Pick a side and tell me why. The best argument gets unpacked in the next breakdown. You don't trade quarterbacks with a division rival in October unless something's broken. That's the first weird thing here. The second weird thing, the Bengals paid a day 3 swap for a 40-year-old who just lost a starting job in Cleveland. The net result feels equal parts pragmatic and panicked, and it hands the NFL another odd little headline to chew on. Reuters' Cincinnati's problem was obvious. Joe Burrow goes down, the offense cratered, and Jake Browning hasn't steadied the ship. A 3-game slide, turnovers, and a first-half scoring drought left the Bengals staring at a spiral. Flacco isn't a miracle cure. He is, however, a veteran who knows how to manage a game, take hits, and minimize chaos. Exactly the short-term trait teams in emergency mode want. This is a buy-time move, not a win the Super Bowl move. Reuters, the price was tiny. Flacco and a 2026 6th-rounder to Cincinnati for a 2026 5th. That's a marginal draft upgrade for Cleveland and a nearly cost-free plug for Cincinnati. On paper, the Browns get a modest asset. The Bengals get experience. If you're grading today, it's a fair trade for both teams. Weird, but fair. The Blair. ClevelandBrowns.com. What changes instantly in Cleveland is clarity. Flacco's exit opens the official number 2 spot for Shedeur Sanders. He was QB4 at the end of the preseason. Within hours, he's QB2. That's not just a roster tweak, it's a shift in expectations, preparation, and pressure. Being active on game day changes a rookie's life. Warm-ups, sideline reps, film study targeted at you, those small things add up fast. CBSSports.com, Shedeur's reaction was measured. He praised Flacco, said he'd learned from him, and kept the spotlight off himself. Deion Sanders shrugged it off publicly, which is the exact kind of external calm you want when a rookie's name suddenly gets louder. But inside the building, coaches now have to answer a practical question. Do you prepare the backup the same way you would a veteran? Or do you keep the playbook rigid for Dillon Gabriel and risk a schematic mismatch if Sanders is thrust in? CBSSports.com Dillon Gabriel wins a small but important vote of confidence here. Trading Flacco signals. Cleveland likes what it sees in Gabriel as the starter, and the team is willing to run with youth rather than revert to a veteran crutch. Gabriel's first start wasn't flawless, but it was promising enough that the front office preferred to convert Flacco into a draft asset rather than keep him as a hedge. For Gabriel, that's runway. For the Browns, it's an organizational posture.